Number 15, we're asked to decide whether this is linear, quadratic, or exponential. So if you guys remember down here at the bottom, I wrote what each pattern has. Linear would create a line if you graphed it. It has a constant rate of change in the first difference. So you're either adding the same number or subtracting the same number through the entire y value pattern. Quadratics, if you find the first difference, there would be no pattern, but if you look at the second difference in the y's, there would be a constant rate. Either you're adding the same number or subtracting. And then exponentials, you're going to be multiplying by the same common factor, common ratio. So if I look at my y values, I notice that it goes 512, it's decreasing, and it gets to 2 rather quickly. So if I had to guess which one of these it would be, I would guess exponential, which means we're multiplying by a common factor. And how do you find what you're multiplying by? Well, for most of you, you might say, hey, the numbers are getting smaller, so I'm really dividing by a number. And we could turn that into multiplication. But in order to find the common ratio, you pick any two numbers in the pattern. For instance, the easiest ones would be the smallest, 8 and 2. And to find the common ratio, if this is exponential, is you take the new number 2 and divide it by the previous number 8. And then reduce that. So I could reduce this by dividing by 2. So my common ratio would be 1/4. Which means you're dividing by 4. So let's check that. If I take 512 and divide by 4, in other words multiply by 1/4, you do get 128. If you take 128 and multiply by 1/4, you do get 32. If you take 32 and multiply by 1/4, you get 8, and so forth. Therefore, this table is exponential because I multiply by a common ratio, and the common ratio is 1/4.